Breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes. It's being reported that Warner Bros. Discovery has reportedly made a brand new offer to AEW when it comes to media rights negotiations. And it's also being reported that previous offers were at least double AEW's current television deal, with the expectation that this deal between AEW and WBD to extend their working relationship is set to continue. We'll let you know all the details on that. Plus, we have the ratings for Saturday's edition of AEW Collision on TNT. Brian Danielson says he has no idea if the final countdown will be used this weekend at AEW All In for his ring entrance. An update on why former WWE NXT superstars, the grizzled young veterans, didn't sign contracts with All Elite Wrestling. Former AEW star Jose the Assistant reportedly was backstage with Andrade at SmackDown last Friday. A new partnership between WWE 2K24 and Premier League football side Bournemouth has also been announced. Plus, The Undertaker reportedly has asked Triple H if Raw is going to be 3 hours when it moves to Netflix. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's begin with the developing story this evening. And it's a big one when it comes to an update regarding the media rights negotiations between Warner Bros. Discovery and All Elite Wrestling. And things continue to move well on the AEW WBD front. Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp has spoken with a number of sources within AEW and WBD about the possibility of an impending announcement. WBD sources confirmed there was still some red tape to get through, but that another offer for a long-term television deal was made recently to All Elite Wrestling from the company that they're very confident in. Fightful reported earlier this summer that AEW President and CEO Tony Khan was set to meet with WBD's CEO David Zaslav in Paris during the Olympics. Khan confirmed as much was planned, and Fightful has heard that both sides considered that meeting productive. Fightful have been told that the deal came together soon after that. One WBD source calls the offer, quote, extensive, but didn't elaborate on what that meant outside of saying the terms of the deal were literally extensive, but that the offer is in AEW's hands and that they're reviewing it. AEW and WBD seemed optimistic that a deal would be agreed to, but Fightful say they didn't hear of when an announcement could be made. Now, sources close to the situation said that even previous to the most recent offer, All Elite Wrestling had been offered at least double the amount of their previous deal. Those were the previous offers, so it's not been said whether this new offer is more than double or at least double when it comes to this new offer. If we get any more details on that, of course, we'll let you know. Now, according to Fightful, a few important things to note is that there are no publicly available numbers for their current television deal, and that deal evolved greatly over the body of the deal. It's also worth noting that Fightful don't know if at least double are for the same amount of programming or if there are additional elements involved in this. AEW currently, of course, has Dynamite, Collision, Rampage worked into their deal, as well as exclusivity for AEW programming, which is why Dark no longer appears on YouTube. Now, Fightful have been told that, quote, any and all combinations and possibilities have been explored. AEW has also produced reality shows, done numerous specific crossovers, and ran pilots on WBD digital channels. Pay-per-view, next-day streaming, library rights, and Ring of Honor packages are all things that could greatly alter the amount on any deal compared to what it was for the first 4 years of AEW. Now, there were rumors internally that WBD had discussed a, quote, shift in pay-per-view strategy as it pertained to AEW, but they did not respond when Fightful reached out for comment on that. WBD reps had noted earlier this year that any deal that they negotiate will likely have Max in mind, that being their streaming platform. WBD had made inquiries with AEW as of last year about the possibility of that shift in pay-per-view strategy per WBD sources. Now, sources in Warner Bros. Discovery and AEW, according to Fightful Select, continue to be steadfast in claiming that they have been in ongoing discussions regarding a new deal or adjustments to their deal and how to continue working together since last year. Sources from each side that Fightful spoke to expect the partnership to continue, quote, for years to come. Of course, AEW's current deal goes through the end of the year, as they originally had a short-term agreement with WBD in 2019 before extending long-term at the beginning of 2020. Now, regarding word that a WBD memo outlined the value of AEW programming, that was actually a prediction and estimate spreadsheet. We covered this previously. It was something that Dave Meltzer got confused on. It was actually produced by a Fightful Select subscriber and was actually posted in the Fightful Discord. WBD actually said they had no knowledge of such a memo, so such memo doesn't really exist, once again proving that Dave Meltzer was inaccurate on that. But what are your thoughts regarding this developing news, that the expectation is that AEW and WBD will continue working together for years to come? A new offer has been made by WBD to AEW. The expectation is that there's some red tape to cross, but this could be the one possibly that AEW does accept. And on top of that, previous offers were at least double of what AEW's current deal is, with a suggestion that maybe this new offer could be even more. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now let's talk about the ratings for Saturday's edition of AEW Collision on a WBD network, that being TNT. With the 2024 Summer Olympic Games now being a thing of the past, one would think the competition would get a little easier for AEW Collision's total viewership on Saturday nights. Now, that's not entirely the case, however, as the promotion is now contending with the NFL preseason, which is soon to give way to the NCAA college football season, which will become a staple of Saturday nights for the next several months. At least this past Saturday, football didn't have too much of an effect on Collision. WrestleNomics is reporting that Saturday's episode drew 406,000 total viewers and a 0.13 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. The numbers were an improvement from the previous week, with total viewership rising 10% from 370,000, while the 18 to 49 was up 18% from a 0.11. In other good news, there was no change for Collision against the 4-week average, with the number staying level in both categories. Much like last week, Collision finished in the mid-teens for the nights in the 18 to 49. As noted, the competition came from NFL preseason, which took the top 2 slots. Also going head-to-head with Collision was the UFC, which held its pay-per-view preliminary fights on ESPN. Those fights drew 970,000 total viewers and a 0.42 in the 18 to 49, leaving it trailing only the NFL for the day. Of course, Collision was built around the number 1 contenders match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, with rivals The Acclaimed and FTR wrestling to a 30-minute draw, leading to both being named challengers to the Young Bucks at AEW All In this weekend. The show also featured Claudio Castagnoli defeating Lio Rush, and Hologram continuing his 5-match undefeated streak, defeating Angelico. Now, of course, AEW All In is this weekend. Bryan Danielson, it could be his final match, is being billed as the final countdown, but will the song actually be used this weekend at Wembley Stadium? AEW has dubbed Bryan Danielson's potential retirement match against Swerve Strickland as the final countdown, playing off the Europe song that Danielson used as his entrance song throughout his independent career and a handful of times in All Elite Wrestling. Speaking on Uprock Sports, Danielson was asked if Final Countdown would be used at AEW All In. He said, quote, "I have no idea. All I know is that it's a very expensive song to get, so please everybody, do not be disappointed. Tony Khan hasn't told me anything about it. I'm just kind of anticipating I'll come out to my normal song, which I also really like." So if you're expecting Final Countdown this weekend, I guess you never know. It depends if Tony Khan wants to pay the money for it. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to former NXT superstars, the Grizzled Young Veterans, and why they haven't signed contracts with AEW. Having made their AEW debut in April of this year, the current status of former stars in WWE, the Grizzled Young Veterans, has now been revealed. Zach Gibson and James Drake left WWE after their contracts expired in October of last year, after the pair had been denied their release earlier on in the year. Returning to the independent wrestling scene, the Grizzled Young Veterans have also gone on to appear in TNA Wrestling as well as All Elite Wrestling. The April 27, 2024 episode of AEW Collision saw them make their debut against the Acclaimed, as can be seen on the screen right there. In a new update on Gibson and Drake's future that's now been revealed pertaining to AEW, courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp on a Fightful Select Q&A. Sean Ross Sapp said regarding Gibson and Drake's AEW negotiations, quote, "Grizzled Young Veterans are the big ones. I know they were far apart on money." Now, no further details were provided on the talks between the Grizzled Young Veterans and AEW. Now, let's talk about another AEW star, former one anyway, actually being backstage at a recent WWE show. Now, Andrade, of course, made his return to WWE back at the Royal Rumble earlier on this year, a return from AEW. He entered the match at number 4. Andrade, as I mentioned, had left AEW at the end of last year. His last match in the company coming at the AEW World's End pay-per-view, where he was defeated by Miro. During his time in AEW, Andrade was managed by Jose the Assistant, who himself was released from his AEW contract back on April 1st. In an update from Fightful Select, Jose the Assistant was backstage at last week's WWE SmackDown show in Orlando, Florida, alongside the aforementioned Andrade. Now, Jose lives in the Orlando area, but was present backstage for the duration of the show, with him being seen arriving and leaving the arena alongside Andrade. He was recently present at a set of TNA wrestling tapings too. Andrade, of course, faced off against Carmelo Hayes on the show, with Hayes handing him his first singles defeat since his return to the company back in January. Now, no further details have been put out there regarding if there could be any future WWE appearance for Jose the Assistant. We'll have to wait and see indeed if that does actually happen. Now, we spoke earlier on this week, didn't we, about AEW being the front-of-shirt sponsor for the Fulham women's football team here in the UK. Well, now there's another Premier League crossover, this time with WWE. Now, it was announced today that WWE 2K24 would be partnering up with AFC Bournemouth, noting that AFC Bournemouth-themed content will be available in the coming weeks. Per Bournemouth, they said, quote, AFC Bournemouth are thrilled to announce an exciting new partnership with the globally renowned WWE 2K video game series. The groundbreaking collaboration will see the Cherries be the first Premier League club that WWE 2K have formed a tag team with, and consequently seeing several digital campaigns that will entertain fans and showcase the immersive experience of WWE 2K24. The 2K franchise prides itself on delivering an authentic wrestling simulation that celebrates the past, present, and future of sports entertainment, featuring stunning visuals, gripping gameplay, iconic legends and superstars, and immersive game modes. WWE 2K leaves it all in the ring. Supporters who are familiar with the titles in the franchise will already know that WWE 2K provides an outstanding wrestling experience. Now, again, what these digital, crossovers is going to be, we don't know, but Rob Mitchell, commercial director at AFC Bournemouth, said, quote, partnering with WWE 2K is a fantastic opportunity for us to engage with our supporters in a new and innovative way. This collaboration will combine the thrill of WWE's 2K gameplay with the dynamic world of Premier League football. Bryce Yang, senior director of franchise and partnership strategy sports at 2K, also commented, quote, WWE 2K and AFC Bournemouth make a formidable tag team in the ring and on the pitch. We're thrilled to partner with the Cherries and wish them great success this season. Together, anything is possible. The AFC Bournemouth themed content will be available in the coming weeks, and fans can stay updated on all of the exciting developments by following WWE 2K and AFC Bournemouth on their respective social media channels. Fans can get their hands on WWE 2K game here. So we'll have to wait and see indeed what happens when it comes to, all of those crossovers moving forward. And finally, Raw heads to Netflix next year, and there's many questions about what the presentation is going to be like once WWE's biggest show goes on one of the biggest streaming platforms. One of the questions being, is it going to be 3 hours or is it going to move back to 2 hours? Well, The Undertaker says 3 hours is a long time. Raw's 3 hour length has been a point of criticism for a long time now, even with the product drawing plenty of praise since Triple H took over creative of the organization. WWE Hall of Famer The Undertaker was still fairly active when Raw switched to 3 hours in 2012, but he still can't quite believe the show is so long. Speaking on his 6 Feet Under podcast, The Undertaker commented on attending SummerSlam. He recorded sitting backstage with Triple H at the following taping of Raw and joking about the show's length. He said, quote, I saw Paul, Triple H at the end of the night. That's a lot of wrestling to be attended on my schedule these days. I went up to him, gave him a hug, told him bye, and I said, all right, I'll see you at Mania. He got what I was saying. The whole time I sat up at gorilla position with Paul and Bruce Pritchard and then myself. We're all sitting up there. I was like, this show's really 3 hours long. I know it is, but it was just like, when you guys go to Netflix, is this show going to cut back down to 2 hours, 3 hours? Why 3 hours? It's been 3 hours forever now, but I was just kind of trying to stress the point of 3 hours is a lot of wrestling on a Monday night. So indeed, we'll have to see what happens when Raw moves to Netflix next year. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like or the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.